Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Digital Srini and welcome to this new mini series that I'm calling Applied LLMs for Scientists, with the first focus on LLM-assisted image annotation. So if you work on images in your research like microscopy, pathology, medical imaging, or any scientific imaging field, you have probably spent time manually annotating these images, like drawing outlines around cells and marking regions and labeling structures one by one. Today, I want to show you a completely different approach where you could describe what you're looking for in your image and the model finds it for you. And also another simpler way, what if you could just click on an object, and get precise pixel level mask almost instantly. So this is what the series is about. Again, we are building a complete annotation pipeline from scratch using two state-of-the-art models. One is Grounding DINO. I'll explain what it is in a minute. And the other one is SAM, segment anything model. Obviously, both of these models made a little bit of a splash a few years ago. Now everyone forgot all of this and everyone's like obsessed with LLMs. Of course, we're going to use language here, but this is not about, this is practical application. This is not about generating code or writing some cool term paper by generating a whole bunch of text. So no prior machine learning experience is required. And of course, Python knowledge definitely helps, although you can always use Claude or something else to generate the code itself. It does make sense for you to understand what the code is, but it can be scary if you blindly apply, or use the code. It may result in technical debt that you need to clean up a few years later. Okay, so this is going to be 3 videos. Again, I'll explain these later on as we get to it. I want to make this introductory presentation to be as targeted and short as possible. So let me start. Let's go to the next slide. First of all, let's understand the problem. Again, I'm pretty sure if you're a scientist, you know the problem. If you ever annotated scientific images manually, you know what this looks like, right? I mean, you open your image and you carefully trace around like each structure, you label it, you move to the next one and so on. For a single image with dozens of objects, it can take an hour in some cases. So for a data set of hundreds of images, you're looking about weeks of work. This need to be automated a little bit, and that's hopefully this tutorial helps you in getting there. So now the thing is, it's not just slow, it actually requires domain knowledge. Someone who actually knows what a glomerulus looks like, right? I mean, you can't just hand it over to someone. It's not like a Pepsi or can or a cat or a dog. This requires domain knowledge. So what counts as mitochondria versus what counts as background? So you as an expert need to know this. So you cannot hand this work to general purpose crowd. There are like these general purpose crowd, if I can say, crowd annotation platforms, and you can't really rely on them. So that's one thing. And there is consistency problem here, right? So 2 expert annotators looking at the same image will not draw exactly the same boundary. So that variability also introduces noise into your training data, which affects the model downstream. I'm not saying automated ones are better than 2 different experts, but if the experts are not agreeing on something, then you may as well live with the uncertainty that this model actually brings in, and then correct any mistakes that actually happened during this automated labeling process. Now, this is what I'm talking about. What if you could type the word glomerulus, just that one word, nothing, right? And the model locates it in your image and draws a boundary around it. This would be the dream case scenario. Obviously, the glomerulus in the kidney is not that large. That's AI generated image, as you can tell. I'll show you real images in a couple of slides later. That's the idea. That's basically it. I don't want to spend any more time on this specific slide. Again, there are 3 things that we're going to do. One is describe it and you get the boxes around it. Okay, that's fine. The second thing that we're going to do is, in our second tutorial, describe it and you get the mask out of it, not just the bounding box, but the actual masks out of it. And level 3 is actually keeping it real. You cannot actually, if your image has thousands of these glomeruli, maybe this automated process picks up, let's say, 80% of your glomeruli, and the remaining 20%, you need to have tools to make it easy, and that's where the SAM comes into picture. Click, 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 and then you kind of label your glomeruli right there. Okay, so first of all, step one, how do you translate the text into segmentation of your image? For that, we are going to use something called Grounding DINO, DINO. And let me introduce this first before moving on. I'll just use a couple of technical terms. If they don't make sense, still doesn't matter. We can just still download the models and go ahead and start using it. So Grounding DINO uses, it combines like three ideas. One is it combines image features with language embeddings. This is the key one for us right now, right? So instead of detecting only fixed training classes, for example, cat, a dog, a car, it encodes your text prompt. For example, in our case, let's say glomerulus. And again, these are the little, you'll look at those later on. So if you're not from pathology background. So let's say you just you have like glomerulus or proximal tubule, for example. So using a text encoder, matches those language features against the image features. And again, this is exactly what enables like open vocabulary detection in general. And the second thing it combines is it uses a transformer-based detector. And the transformer is basically the T in your ChatGPT, right? So in this case, it uses something called DINO, D-I-N-O. Please go ahead and read that paper if you want to learn more about it. Basically, the model treats object detection as a set prediction problem. A transformer decoder learns object queries that attend to image regions and languages simultaneously, both of those simultaneously, rather than relying on classical anchor box, type pipelines. If that doesn't make sense, the only thing I want you to remember is it's a transformer-based detector. It's basically a vision transformer. The third thing is cross-model fusion happens at multiple stages. So this specific paper actually introduces a feature enhancer, language-guided query selection, and cross-modality decoder. So these modules continuously fuse text and visual information so the model can regionalize, or localize is probably the right term, localize the objects described by text prompts or expressions. At the end of the day, again, for our microscopy use case, the important intuition is that Grounding DINO is not really segmenting anything. It's really not segmenting anything. It's doing text-guided object localization, which is nothing but bounding boxes. That's it. Okay? And the model was primarily trained on natural images, COCO, Object 365, and similar datasets. It's excellent on natural photographs. Amazing on natural photographs. And in fact, I was a bit surprised that it even worked on scientific images, which is why I'm doing this tutorial. So on scientific images, of course, it depends heavily on how different your images look from natural photos. And we will actually test this honestly. Is this really useful for your specific case or not? We'll test that honestly later on. Okay, but understanding the limitations, again, this is probably the most important slide in this video because it really sets honest expectations. Okay, natural images, like I already mentioned, Grounding DINO works really, really well. So this is basically its home territory. H&D pathology images, at least based on a few images that I tested on, when I say few, like 20 different types of images, types of segmentation, whether it is nuclei. Again, it depends on a lot of factors. The magnification, for example, it can be a factor. How large of an image you supply is a factor. The staining is a factor. I haven't tested on every little variation, but based on my testing, this works. I think the right term is partially. I almost said mostly because in most cases it did work, which kind of surprised me. It works partially. The images are in color, which definitely helps. Right? If they are in only like grayscale images, then it needs color information. Definitely helps. And the model has likely seen some biomedical images in the training data via the figure captions, for example, in published data from papers and textbooks, actually. So for clearly defined anatomical structures like glomerulus, it often works. It really works for these type of clearly defined structures. For fine cellular detail, it struggles. That's my learning from here. Now, when it comes to the electron microscopy images, again, these are not in color typically, of course, right? Unless someone applies false color. These are grayscale images. This is where it more often fails than not, meaning it probably gets 50%, and the remaining 50% you have to use like SAM or something to fill that gap. In pathology images, maybe if you get to 80%, especially if it's like glomeruli, for example. Even 90% actually for these type of examples. Again, we'll test these. And fluorescence microscopy, same story, bright spots on black background. And in fact, if you have like cellular images with different markers, like let's say in green and representing the cytoplasm, and let's say blue for the DAPI signal, then there are better models to detect those, not this specific approach. Go ahead and use CellPose, or go ahead and use Stardust, for nuclei segmentation, or even labeling, if you want to call that. So this is where I would not even, maybe I should try. I haven't tried a lot of this, but this is where I know for sure there are other models that can actually help us. Okay, so that's the first model, the Grounding DINO, and let's hope that it works in annotating or labeling a whole bunch of objects. The next thing is SAM2. And again, that's SAM stands for Segment Anything Model. It's developed by Facebook or Meta, and it does something fundamentally different from Grounding DINO, right? It does not try to understand what an object is. It responds to visual boundaries, places in the image where intensity, texture, or color changes in a way that indicates one region is ending and another is beginning. So you give SAM2 a prompt, like a bounding box, a click on the object, or basically a rough mask. It produces a precise pixel level segmentation in that specific location. And because SAM2 actually works on visual structure rather than semantic understanding, it generalizes to new imaging domains much better than Grounding DINO does. So that's why I think the combination is more powerful. Use DINO first, get whatever it can get. For the ones that it missed, use SAM2 so you can quickly annotate your images. So the combined pipeline is something like this, right? So you type glomerulus, Grounding DINO reads that text, scans your image, and returns a bounding box around the region it thinks matches. And that box is passed to SAM2 as a prompt, and SAM2 then finds the precise pixel boundary or whatever it is inside that box and returns a mask. And the result that you have is like right you see down here, it's just a mask, right? On the left, the loose bounding box, and on the right hand side you can actually see this is from Grounding DINO, and this one is for SAM2 actual boundary for the entire glomerulus. And this is what we'll do in the second tutorial after this one. In the first tutorial, let's just start getting our feet wet, and I'm trying to keep the tutorials to be short. That's why I keep saying first tutorial, second tutorial, because each, I hope, would not be longer than 20 minutes or so. So when it comes to domain gap, again, I explained domain gap a few minutes ago. Grounding DINO was trained on natural images, photographs of everyday objects, outdoor scenes, people, and animals, so it works great on those. And when you show it in electron microscopy images, like grayscale, high contrast, showing cellular ultrastructure at nanometer resolution, it has no representation of this visual world, so it probably will not work. This is exactly what I mean by domain gap, and this is where SAM2 can definitely help. Yeah. Now, one thing before ending this video is about this point prompts. The EM images is our failure case, so we are going to look at these one, and Grounding DINO cannot find these mitochondria. And what we do is we look at EM images, we identify these structures, And there is no text prompt. You just click, and that is the prompt that you're going to provide. Yeah, you provide the location, and then the SAM2 kind of looks around, and it identifies, hopefully, these objects. Now, you can actually do multiple points. You can do positive and you can do negative points. Yeah, a single click gives SAM2 a starting location. Sometimes that's enough, like in this case, to produce a perfect mask. But of course, you see this is not perfect right there. But sometimes it's too large, right there. So you can fix it with adding additional clicks. A second positive click already actually fixes this a lot. And a negative click, like the red markers right here, it tells SAM2 what not to include. So if the mask is bleeding into this background, then into an adjacent object, you click, to define a negative, point right there. Okay, I think that's it. And at the end, a complete, this is our plan, our notebook 1, or I should have said 2, tutorial 2, for example, or video 2. So this we'll only look at the grounding DINO to see exactly how it works. And then in notebook 2, we convert this boxes into an actual mask for that specific object. And then in notebook 3, let's actually do the whole thing. Let's implement the whole thing where we're not just looking at one glomerulus, but obviously the objective is to label this entire image for glomeruli. And let's see if we can build something like that. Okay, I hope you like the plan, and please leave comments so I know exactly what your thoughts are. And if you want me to, explain some other concept, please do feel free to let me know via comments. Okay, I'll see you in the next tutorial. And until then, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.